Right, well, you lot probably dodged a bullet today because I was going to do this video on camera. But unfortunately for me, and possibly fortunately for you, my camera was playing up. So you don't get to see my ugly mug. Which, as I say, is probably fortunate because I have a perfect face for radio, as the old joke goes. But I did want to actually change things up a bit anyway. There were a few stories that caught my eye this week that I wanted to cover but didn't have time. So I thought what I'd do is I'd cobble them all together and I'd go through them briefly here. So if you like this way of doing things, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do more of this going forward. First story that caught my eye was relating to THQ Nordic. And we all know they've been buying up a lot of studios, but presumably because of that, they decided that they were going to do an AMA and ask me anything. And they decided they were going to do it on 8chan. Now, for those of you who don't know, 8chan has got a pretty poor reputation for allowing far-right groups and certain other dodgy characters, who I won't mention, to post on their channel. So it was a bizarre idea for Philip Brock, I think the guy was, to decide to do this AMA on 8chan. And it went, as you might have expected, badly wrong. And they ended up having to make an apology. And Philip Brock said this: I personally agreed to this AMA without doing my proper due diligence to understand the history and the controversy of the site. Well, you're not kidding. And I do not condone child pornography, white supremacy or racism in any shape or form. Well, good for you. And I'm terribly sorry for the short-sightedness of my decision and promise to be far more vigorous in my assessment of these activities in the future. This was not about being edgy. This blew up. Surprise, surprise, it blew up. And I very much regret to have done it in the first place. Well, there you go. If there were any doubts that people working in marketing and at the tops of some of these companies didn't know what was going on in the real world, this probably proves it to you. I feel sorry for the guy, but really, he should have done a bit more due diligence, as he calls it, before he got involved. So, yeah, that was an interesting one. The next one that caught my eye was Mike Ybarra from Microsoft. Now, you lot may remember him from, I think it was last week, having a go at gamers and saying that they were whiners because they were having a go at Anthem. And, well, Anthem deserved to have people having a go at it. I haven't played a lot of Anthem, but I did play the beta and, well, it wasn't all that great. The gameplay in terms of the shooting and the flying mechanic was great, but everything else left me cold, frankly. And I was hoping that maybe there'd be more to it once it came out and you got the full game. But it's come out this week and no, not really. From what I can tell, and as I say, I've not played it, but from what I can tell from people who have played it extensively, it's not great. And hopefully it'll get better, but for the time being, I'm not interested. But anyway, I'm not talking about that here. What I'm talking about is Mike Ybarra tweeting in relation to all these rumours about Xbox Live and possibly even Xbox Game Pass coming to the Switch. And he was being rather playful. And he tweeted a tweet where he put rumour and then gave the definition of rumour: a story or statement in general circulation without confirmation or certainty as to the facts, gossip, hearsay, archaic, a continuous, confused noise, clamour, din. So he posted this and then he immediately followed it up with, it's a rumour that I only play PC games. And this set the internet alight because people were taking it that he was maybe hinting that Microsoft are going to bring Xbox Live and Game Pass to the Switch. And, well, personally, you guys probably know my opinion on this. I actually do think that that's likely, and I do think that we're going to see possibly native games coming to the Switch. I know we're already seeing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifices coming to the Switch, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see more games following suit. And I think there is an outside chance that we'll see Xbox Live and Game Pass coming to the Switch as well. Although I do think Xbox Live may be baked into games rather than being an overall service on the system, but we'll see. But what's important here to know is what he actually said. He said, it's a rumour that I only play PC games. And that word only is the key word here, because a lot of people were saying it's a rumour that I play PC games. Now that's different, because Mike Ybarra has stated on many times that he plays PC games, but he's also stated and been very clear that he likes to play on all different platforms. So when he says it's a rumour that I only play PC games, that could be suggesting that these rumours aren't quite as correct as people like to think they are. So he may actually be sort of trying to dampen down expectations rather than, flaming the fire. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. Do you think this is likely to happen? Do you think Mike Ybarra was flaming the fire? Or do you think, or fanning the flames, I should say, or do you think that he was trying to damp it down a bit? It's an interesting one, and I'd be interested, to hear what you guys think of that. The next one that I must talk about is Nintendo and their Direct, or should I say the Pokemon Direct. And they announced that we're getting Pokemon Sword and Shield later in the year. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but if you're a gamer, you have to admit that Pokemon is massive. And I know that Count over at Gamecast is going to be extremely excited about this one because, well, he's a big Pokemon fan. And he always talks about Pokemon any chance he can get. So he's going to be extremely excited about that. And my boy's going to be really excited about it too. Although he's kind of gone off the boil a bit with Pokemon recently. He's more interested in, surprise, surprise, Fortnite and Battle Royale games in general. But yeah, this is interesting news. We knew it was coming. The game looks gorgeous, I have to say. I think the art style looks terrific. And yeah, I probably will buy one or other of Sword and Shield. I probably won't get both. I'm not a mad fan, but I probably will get one of them. So yeah, that was an interesting one. And yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. And the other thing that came out from Nintendo this week, there's one other actually, there's a really big story that came out from Nintendo this week, which I'll get to in a minute. But this story interested me because, well, it's something that's been on my mind for a little while, and it's relating to analog triggers on the Switch. And I've complained in the past that there are no analog triggers on the Switch, and that's going to be a real problem for things like racing games. And I'm not the only one. But it seems that there may be a solution, and it's a partial solution, so don't get too excited. Trials Rising is coming out on the Switch, and it is a kind of racing game. It's a side-scrolling stunt style game. If you've not played those games before, I've kind of dabbled with them, and they are fun. As I say, I've not played them a lot, but those kind of games do work better with an analog trigger. And some clever so-and-sos have found that if you use the Gamecube controller that people were buying when Super Smash Bros. Came out last year, then you can actually take that controller and you can use the analog triggers on that controller to control Trials Rising, which is quite exciting. However, it doesn't work perfectly. Someone called Septic Lemon on Nintendo Life said this. He said, I can confirm that Trials Rising supports the analog triggers of GameCube controllers, but it's not totally clean control setup. It feels like a Steam controller with assigned buttons and controls. What I mean by this is that the analog part of the triggers act as the right Joy-Con's analog stick. So in effect, it's doing what the analog stick does. Right trigger actuates pushing the stick up, and left trigger actuated pushing the stick down. So, as I say, it's not perfect. I've not looked into it personally, but it does look interesting, and I'll be interested to see if this moves forward, and maybe we could see some sort of controller coming out with analog triggers in the future. I don't know. It just might be an anomaly. But it's interesting nonetheless. So, yeah, keep your eyes open for that one if you're a Switch owner and you like racing games or any other kind of game that requires analog triggers or at least works better with analog triggers. And last but not least, I have to mention this one if we're talking about Nintendo, and it's Reggie Fils-Aimé, and he is leaving Nintendo. He's announced his retirement. He's actually, from what I can gather, just stopping completely and going and spending time with his family, which is great for him because, well, you know, he's probably not short of a bob or two, and he can spend some time with his family and have fun, and, you know, he probably deserves it. He's been working bloody hard the last 15 years since he's been at Nintendo, and he was working pretty hard before that, from what I can gather. And he'll be retiring on April the 15th. In a very interesting and slightly amusing twist, though, the guy taking over from him at Nintendo America is someone called Doug Bowser. Now, you guys have probably heard of this already, but I thought that was pretty cool. It was a peach of an appointment, you could say. So, yeah, that was quite interesting and quite funny, and it led to all sorts of jokes on the internet, and one of them went something along the lines of, wait for Bobby Kotick to be replaced at Activision. Someone called Larry Lootbox is coming in to do his job, which I thought was quite a funny one. And I'm sure there are a lot more out there, and if you've got any of them, let me know in the comments and let's all have a laugh. But, you know, I've been critical of Nintendo in the past, and no doubt I'll be critical of Nintendo in the future. They do good things, they do bad things, just like any other company. But Reggie comes across as a extremely personable guy. He doesn't seem all that corporate given his position. And I like the guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen of him, I like the guy. And I only wish him the best. I hope he enjoys his time with his family and enjoys playing his Switch or whatever Nintendo might be coming out with next. So yeah, that's a kind of a nice one to end on, really. I wish the guy every happiness, and I think Nintendo have brought us a lot of pleasure, and Reggie Fils-Aimé has been no small part of that. So yeah, that's me done. Hope you like this one. It is, as I say, a slightly different format. If you like that, let me know, and maybe I will put out more like this in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to do what I usually do at the end of a video and grab myself a cup of tea. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Bye.